Hi, I'm Alex, this is Pucks and Paperbacks, and in today's vlog, I'll be reading some creepy queer books. This is my final vlog for October. Every year I tried to do a vlog where I read some queer, creepy books, so that's what we're doing today. I have an ambitious TBR, so I'm gonna share my hopefuls for this video. I did add some short things. I have an audiobook that I've been meaning to get to, and I'm really excited for this vlog. I love reading horror and mystery thrillers and just creepy books, and when it's queer, that's all the better. My last vlog was dedicated to Black-A-Ween-a-thon, and so in this vlog, I'm going to be focused on TBR Harvest, which is another readathon I've been participating in this month. This was created by Leandra, the TBR Zero. Her channel will be linked down below. I really love her and her videos, so definitely go and show her some love. I love interactive readathons, which is why I was really drawn to TBR Harvest, especially that it's very low-key. There's no stakes, and it's not a competitive readathon by any means. It's just helping you get through your TBR in a fun Halloween way. She created 3 boards, so you can escape the corn maze, you can escape the haunted house, or you can be like me and just trick-or-treat. So I have been trick-or-treating throughout the month with books, which is so fun. So there are prompts, and all you have to do is read a book that corresponds to the prompt. Here's what my board looks like so far. I have been doing a really great job, but I'll be sharing what my hopefuls are in this video. They're really ambitious. I did pick some short things as well, so I think that this is gonna be pretty manageable. However, they're hopefuls. It's not a strict TBR. It's just whatever I'm able to get to. I have 8 books, so I'm gonna go over that really quick, and as I do so, on the screen will be what trick-or-treat item is associated to the book. So first I have St. Juniper's Folly by Alex Crespo. This is a queer haunted house story. I am so excited to read this. I cannot wait. I have his YA debut, Queer Seniora, which I started on a whim when I just had some downtime and didn't have a book with me, so I just opened my Kindle app and picked that. So I enjoyed what I have read of that. I just haven't finished it yet. Alex is a trans queer Mexican-American author. The next book is going to get me 2 items or more. This is Say I Boo by Morgan Spellman, and this is another wedding book. I don't know why I'm just picking up all the wedding books, but apparently I am this month. Preventing a murder is hard, especially when all of these suspects are dead. When whimsical stage magician Abby Specter finds herself snowbound at a mysterious mansion days before her friend's wedding, she uncovers a vengeful spirit's deadly agenda. Armed with a very quick wit and tools from a former paranormal investigator, Abby must navigate a web of ghostly suspects and cryptic clues. The author shared a graphic on his Instagram just talking more about the book, and I believe I read that this has Scooby-Doo vibes, and if you watched my video where I read books based on Bookstore's most recent Instagram post, I said what I wanted out of the Z word was a Scooby-Doo mystery gang. And I think I'm getting it in this book, and I will be so stoked. I have been craving this. I want it. I want the Scooby-Doo gang, but queer. It is a paranormal mystery, a whodunit. There is a Jewish lesbian main character, lots of ghosts, heartwarming subplots, psych and supernatural vibes, and it's not scary. So I love that. I love the cozy vibes. If you watched my recent book haul, I was recently and kindly gifted Thirsty by Jazz Hammonds from the publisher, so thanks so much to them. While I was preparing for this video, I thought that since this is a publisher copy, why not throw it into this vlog, because that should be a priority since they did send it to me, and I've been really wanting to read Jazz Hammonds and finish their work because I really enjoyed what I had read of We Deserve Monuments. This is an academic thriller about a sorority and trying to fit in and hazing. So thanks again to the publisher for sending me this. I am very excited. I love Jazz Hammond's writing. Next is a short story collection. This is Queer Little Nightmares. We have some poetry and short stories in here. I have the audiobook. I believe I've had it for over a year now, and I just haven't gotten around to it, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity copy. It's very short, and I picked up a physical copy because it says that there's poetry in there, and I wanted to be able to read it physically as well. Throughout history, monsters have appeared in popular culture as stand-ins for the non-conforming and the marginalized, relegated to the shadows as objects of fear, revulsion, and hostility. These characters have long conjured fascination and self-identification in the LGBT community, and over time, monsters have become queer icons. The striking and playful stories and poems in Queer Little Nightmares removes queer monsters from the subtext and place them front and center, subverting the horror gaze to celebrate ideas and identities canonically featured in Monster Lit, pushing back against tropes that have historically been used to demonize. Queer Little Monsters poses the question, what does it mean to be and love a monster? I think this is going to be fantastic. I love poetry and I love short stories. This will be my third anthology that I've read this year, and that is so rare for me. So I'm really loving that. I can't wait to read this. Honestly, it's definitely something I'm interested in, and I really don't read monster books very much. We have authors like Kai Chen Tom, Jay Simpson, who I really love, and then a lot of new people that I have not heard of before. Next is a book that I've already read and I recommended in my Queer Fall Book Recs video. This is Confetti Realms by Nadia Shamas, and I'm gonna reread it because I loved it when I read it back in February and I want to have a good refresher. Next is Brooms by Jasmine, a graphic novel I've been wanting to get to. Set in 1930s Mississippi, this is about queer, disabled, and BIPOC characters who are in illegal witch racing. It's going to be so fun. Next is a novella from one of my favorite indie authors. They're writing as Jasper Hyde, but I know them as Georgina Kirsten. I sincerely apologize because I keep screwing up this author's name every time I even reference them in any of my videos. So today I'm getting it right. This is Georgina Kirsten, and they are writing under the pseudonym Jasper Hyde, and this is a Sleepy Hollow retelling. It is a diverse retelling of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and I will be watching Sleepy Hollow because I really need a refresher. I cannot remember the last time I watched that movie, but it definitely was like 2009. That's how long it's been. I think that was the first time I probably ever watched it. And last I have a middle grade cozy mystery on audio by Alicia Dow and Tracy Badua. This is the Cookie Crumbles, and I've heard nothing but great things about this. And I love baking competition show books and baking books in general. This is going to help me get the candy for TBR Harvest with a sweet word in the title. Cookies are sweet, so I thought that that would work perfectly. So those are my hopefuls for this vlog, and I can't wait to get started. Hello, it's Monday, and on Saturday I started reading for this vlog. However, I am just updating you now because mentally I was not great after watching a hockey game in person for the first time since 2019. And my team fucking blew it right in front of my fucking eyes. I'm actually still mad. I'm so mad. Have not been to a game in person since 2019. I was so fucking excited, and they just blew it for me. You blew it! Because they lost 3-0. Not one goal. Not one goal. However, we did play the Vancouver Canucks, so it wasn't a total bust because I really enjoyed that team. I could not even bring myself to turn on the camera yesterday, despite having finished a book, because I was just so upset. I was depressed. Seriously. And I don't like to throw that word around, but I was depressed. Genuinely, like, you know, like concert hangover? This was so different. However, I got to see my favorite defenseman, Quinn Hughes, so it wasn't the worst thing, but I just wish I could have gotten one goal. Please. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. But let's talk about something more positive, which is the book that I read yesterday, Brooms by Jasmine, art by T.O. Duval, and there are a couple other contributors, and I really enjoyed this. Oh my god. If you're looking for a queer book to replace that one that we don't talk about by the shitty transphobic author, this would be my comparison. You know that sport that's in that book? This doesn't have that, but this is illegal witch races, and it is amazing. We have a cast of BIPOC characters. There is a deaf character who uses Choctaw sign language. I thought that was so awesome to see. It does talk about residential schools, and the author is not indigenous herself, so just take that into account. And there's a flashback scene, and just talk about it, so huge trigger warning for that if you're sensitive to that. Her creator note says, when researching for this book, I wanted to balance historical accuracy and fantastical magic through the lens of people on the margins. The culture of these illegal backwoods races was heavily influenced by underground queer communities of color at the time. Groups of people who created their own space of love, community, and acceptance, despite the constant danger of the law and hateful mindset. Of course, it's not a perfect parallel, and it wasn't meant to be, but there's one thing that remains the same for both subcultures: experiencing a taste of what life could be like if the world were kinder. Then she goes on to mention which characters are based on her family's experiences, including black characters Billy May, Loretta, and James. Billy May has chronic joint pain similar to the author. Loretta's disability was caused by a stroke, much like Jasmine's grandmother went through. They both use root magic, which draws on the energy of the earth and blessings of her ancestors, and I loved the way that that was illustrated. I really enjoyed the way that that was done. Maddie and Emma are of mixed heritage, black and Choctaw. Emma uses Choctaw sign language, and then I actually appreciate that she mentioned, I also fully acknowledge that lip reading is not a realistic method of communication for a person who is deaf or hard of hearing, and was a choice I made for the sake of the medium. I appreciated that, because that was one thing I had trouble with, was that with the deaf character, they just would look at her and talk so she could lip read, and I just was like, that's not always accurate, so I really appreciated that she added that. Luella is of mixed heritage as well. She's Mexican and Choctaw. Then we have Cheng Kwan, who is a trans woman, and she is Chinese American and speaks Cantonese, which we do see on page. Luella is of mixed heritage as well. She's Mexican and Choctaw. I really appreciated the way that she just kept referencing in this that she understands that she's not from these groups and is not always going to get it right, and I really admire that. We're following a group of witches as they're teaching these young girls how to race, and it was so good. This made me think that I don't read a lot of books about witches, so I definitely want to read more. And I would also like to pick up We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry. I know what that book's about, and I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like these two have similar vibes, but I could be completely wrong. Anyway, totally love this. Very glad that I read it. The book for today is Splinter, which I started on Saturday. And like I said, I have not watched Sleepy Hollow in a very long time, so I'm hoping that I can get a refresher with this book, but I'm fine if I also have to watch the movie. I tried to read some Spark Notes, but honestly, I just was not into it. Obviously, that was too much information that I personally cannot obtain right now. I'm gonna read this, see how it goes. I'm just really hoping that the way that they write it can be good for people that have not read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow before. So that is my plan for today, is to read Splinter. So I will come back when I have a little reading update. Hello, it's Wednesday, and I do not have a great reading update for you, meaning I haven't finished anything yet this week. I did start the intro of Queer Little Nightmares, and I highlighted it because I enjoyed what was said in there, and I'm 21% into Splinter, and I'm enjoying it so far. But that's it. I have been starting things. I opened a bunch of the books on my Kindle, and that's it. I have read a little bit, but not much. I rambled on too much here. The reason that I was not reading is because my seasonal depression kicked in on Monday, and I was just not feeling it mentally. You will see that throughout this vlog. And I hate that because I was so stoked to film this. This is why I am not the booktuber who sets schedules for myself, because I never know what's going to happen week by week. Hopefully I get to finish something tonight or just get into something, but I'm actually here to share with you some book mail that I recently got. First up is a cookbook that I pre-ordered and it just came today. This is Maddie Matheson's cookbook. You may know him from The Bear, and you may see this book in a future video. This is massive. I did not know this was going to be that big. When it showed up on my doorstep, I was like, why is this box so big? This I am so excited about. I've mentioned this before, but one of my favorite shows is The Bear, and when I found out that Fack is a actual chef, I was like, whoa, that is so cool. And I saw he had a new cookbook coming out, so of course I pre-ordered it. This is Maddie Matheson Soup, Salad, and Sandwiches. It is sick. Like, I just am obsessed. I love cookbooks, and I just cannot wait to look through this and find something to make. I just love the fact that he's a chef and he plays a character on a chef show. I think that is the coolest thing. He's so badass. And the last thing is from Holiday House, and they sent me The Ghost Rules by Adam Rosenbaum. How festive. Once Elwood figures out he can see ghosts, he becomes single-mindedly determined to use his powers to see Noah and help to see him one last time. With the help of two girls who live on the street, Elwood embarks on a journey through the surprisingly funny world of ghosts and faces the realities of letting go. Yeah, this is probably gonna break me. But the back is about ghost rules, and it says when someone dies, they have to choose to stay on Earth or move to the next life. Ghosts can communicate with the living, kinda. A ghost isn't supposed to interact with stuff when the living are around. If a ghost chooses to move on, they keep their memories of life on Earth for all eternity. But if they stay, their memories fade over time. Eventually, they're stuck here haunting their former home without any idea why. If you're a Sims player like me, we just got an announcement for a new expansion pack called Life and Death, and so ghosts have really been on my mind lately, and they added all of these features, especially rebirth, and so that's really making me think of this. Ghosts are cool. I think they're a fun occult to read about, and this looks really cute, so I will have a link down below to this as well as Maddie's book. If you want to pick them up, they're affiliate links, no extra cost to you, but they support my channel so much because I am not monetized here. YouTube probably will never monetize me. It is taking forever for me to even hit the watch time, and I just believe that it'll never happen. The best way to support this channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a Patreon where you can support me there. Right now I'm just using it as a tip jar because honestly I do not have the spoons to do a whole Patreon. I did it before and I know I was super active with it, and then life just happened and I'm not somebody that can be super active on it right now. So I use it as a tip jar. I also have a Ko-fi if you want to tip me there. If you would like to help support the channel, Patreon, Ko-fi, or just by watching my videos, very much helps. Anyway, that is it for now. I'm gonna go take my mental health walk and I'll probably see it tomorrow or Friday. Whenever it happens, it'll happen. I just got back from my walk and this was on my doorstep, so I'm gonna open this really quickly. It's from Penguin. I'm not sure what it's going to be because it could be anything. There's a couple things I'm waiting for. Thought so. A Sharp Endless Need by Marissa Crane. This comes out May 13th, 2025. In December, I'll have my annual 2025 queer book releases video. I have been compiling a list and this is on there. This is the author of I Keep My Exoskeletons to Myself, a book that I also still need to read. Propulsive and nostalgic coming-of-age novel about the relationship between two teammates on a rural high school basketball team. If you know me, you know that's why I decided that I would like a copy of this. So that link will be down below as well if you want to check it out. Good morning! It is Friday and I have some reading updates for you. I'm actually about to edit some of this video before I get into some work for the day. I started the Cookie Crumbles on audio yesterday and I'm really enjoying it. I am 11% in, hoping to get more into it today. I've also read more of Splinter. I am 37% in. It's been slow at first, but now it's really picking up because we have some suspense and the Headless Horseman is there. That's the only thing I know about Sleepy Hollow. I don't know the characters' names or anything. I just remember the Headless Horseman and that's it. And honestly, I think that's all you kind of need to know for this retelling. There's no parts where I'm confused at anything. I think that Jasper Hyde is doing a good job of retelling this story for people that may not know it or remember it. I also read more of Queer Little Nightmares and I am on the 4th story. I read a queer werewolf story that I really enjoyed, so I'm excited to see how the rest of this goes. There's some poems and short stories and I'm really enjoying the audio as well. So that is my reading update for today. Hopefully I will see you later today with a better update that I've finished something. Hi, it's Sunday and I'm actually about to run out to a Ren fair. This will be my first time ever going and I'm dressed as a hockey player. I'm not really one to dress up much, so this is my go-to costume. So I've got my helmet, my jersey, and I am very excited to see what the Ren fair brings. It's like a 2-hour drive, so I'll be able to get some reading in, but I wanted to update you because I finished Splinter last night. I enjoyed it. I was really thrown off by the romance part. I didn't know that that was going to happen. There is a sex scene that happens for multiple pages. Our love interest is Ichabod and our main character is Drizella, and she is dealing with a lot of grief in her family. Her father died. She is just going through it and the Headless Horseman shows up and she wants to stop the murders that are happening. So Ichabod comes to town and she is pissed off because she has some hatred towards him for some things that he did, specifically just not coming back. They had a romance thing that didn't happen, so this is a second chance romance. I love it, enemies to lovers, and I liked their chemistry, but I really enjoyed the action scenes. I am somebody who likes to read slashers and gore, so that does happen here. I mean, it's the Headless Horseman. There's a lot of slashing going on and murder, but I really enjoyed this. I will say there are some grammatical errors. However, this is a self-published work, so I'm not going to knock it too hard for that. I love this author's work, and I'm so glad I got to read them again. I just enjoyed the diverse spin on Sleepy Hollow. Ichabod is demisexual. He's also Filipino, and we have a lot of black characters. Drizella does not mention what her sexuality is. She does like men and women. If you know the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, a character called Matilde is non-binary. So I enjoyed my time with this. It was slow at the beginning, but once the action happened, I was so hooked. So I'm really glad I got to read this. Now I am still reading the Cookie Crumbles, Queer Little Nightmares, and I would like to start today St. Juniper's Folly. So hopefully I can start that in the car, and I will see you after. Hello, happy Monday. It is 10 a.m. I crashed as soon as I got home last night from the Renaissance Fair. I had a good time. I don't know if I would personally go back. It's just not my thing. But I did love the jousting. That was one of my favorite parts. I thought that was so cool. I also just liked the setup and all of the little shops. I said it reminded me a lot of Halloween Town. My one gripe is there wasn't a lot to eat there. There was like chicken on a stick. No. But we did get some cinnamon bread, which was really good. Unfortunately, I didn't take any pictures or anything of it, but it was very good. So I enjoyed my time. I really enjoyed seeing everybody dressed up. That was really cool. There was just so many different costumes, whether it just be people dressed up as Renaissance people or medieval times. The knights, I really liked the knights. I thought that was so cool. I just thought it was really creative and I really enjoyed that it was just a place for people to be able to go and express themselves and go to something that they enjoy. So I enjoyed it. Let me know if you've ever been to a Renaissance fair. I would love to know in the comments. But in terms of reading, I actually started 2 books, Say I Boo and St. Juniper's Folly. Honestly, I think I'm like 5% into both of those. I didn't get much reading in, but my plan for today is to finish up the Cookie Crumbles. I am 35% into the audio and enjoying it. I think I'll be able to finish it today because it's gone really quickly. We're following best friends Layla and Lucy. It's the summer before 8th grade, and they learn because they live on opposite sides of the town, they won't be going to the same high school. However, there is a boarding school called Sutherland that has an elite culinary program as well as journalism. And Layla loves to bake, Lucy loves to write, and she likes to report on things. Layla is invited to compete at the Golden Cookie Competition, which awards its winner admission and a full ride to the prestigious Sunderland boarding school. Sutherland doesn't just have an elite culinary program, it's also home to an elite culinary track. If only newscaster hopeful Lucy could build up a strong enough portfolio to impress the scholarship committee. So what happens is Lucy is eligible to go to this event and write and report on it, and she's hoping that that will get her the in to this boarding school so that her and Layla can go to school together. But where I am right now in the story, something happens where one of the judges, who I believe is based off of Gordon Ramsay because his name is Remy, he's an angry man and he's British. Something happens where he gets sick and he ends up going to the hospital, and Lucy thinks this is the perfect opportunity for her piece. So what's happening right now is the conflict because she thinks that Layla did it. And Layla's like, what are you even talking about? This is a dual POV, so we're getting both Layla and Lucy's perspective through their journal entries. But I'm excited to see how this works because I would hope that the message of the story is that they don't need to go to the same school and they can still be best friends and have to learn how to live separate from each other, but we'll see what happens. The mystery part is really intriguing and I'm excited to see how this book goes. While I do that, I would also like to take some Instagram photos. I want to take one of my Halloween costume and then another just of a book that I'm reading for this vlog. So those are my plans for the day. I hope to see you soon. Hi, it's Tuesday and I finished another book. Last night I finished The Cookie Crumbles by Tracy Badua and Alicia Dow. I really enjoyed this one. It was just a fun read. Like I've already mentioned, we're following Layla and Lucy, who both want to go to this school called Sutherland. They have an elite culinary track, which would be perfect for Layla because she loves to bake, and for Lucy, they have an elite journalism track. So the book takes place over the summer. Layla is invited to Sutherland to compete in a baking competition, and the prize is a scholarship and full ride to the school. But Layla doesn't want to do this alone, so Lucy is able to come along and write about the competition. However, one of the chefs, Remy, ends up getting sick. He goes to the hospital and he's in a coma. And so Lucy is like, what's happening here? So while she is trying to figure out the mystery, Layla is trying to bake the best cookie imaginable so she can get into this school. Although this middle grade is a light and fluffy read, we also have some heavy topics. Layla has lost her father to cancer, so there's some mention about that, and she talks about grief and just talks about the memories she had with her dad. She's also mentions him being on chemotherapy. This was such a sweet read, and now that I've read it, I can acquire the candy for TBR Harvest. This published back in June, making it a new release, so I also get to pick up a pair of tickets, which are probably for a fall festival. I believe this is a debut middle grade for both authors, and I think they crushed it. I enjoyed the character development because at the beginning of the book, Layla is not fond of a couple characters, especially this boy named Jaden, who resents her for winning an apple pie contest because she knew the judge. I like that they were able to make amends and resolve any conflict that they had going on. This was fun. You get to read about kids trying to solve a mystery, and you learn that the adults were the villains all along. I also want to note that Jaden has migraines. I believe they're chronic migraines because he takes medication for them, but I'm not 100% certain. I do want to talk about that a little bit because it talks about tampering with medicine. I don't really want to spoil all that much, but I will say that kind of made me a little uncomfortable just because I was like, I think we could have approached it a little bit differently, because just tampering with medicine is not something that makes me comfortable, especially when you have a kid who is dealing with migraines. Basically, he wasn't able to get his medicine because he couldn't find it, and I just didn't like that. Maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, but I thought it was a little odd. I had wished that the mystery element was different because I just don't like tampering with medication. Overall, I enjoyed this. It was fun and I would recommend it. The audiobook was narrated by Friedel Capistrano and Amani Parks. I would recommend the audio. I enjoyed it. I just liked getting to hear both characters' voices. And now I'm down to the last book, Queer Little Nightmares. I am 38 pages into this and I'm enjoying it. It is currently noon, so I'm going to take the rest of the day to finish this up. It's under 200 pages, so I'm definitely going to be able to finish it up today. Unfortunately, if I want to get this vlog up by Halloween, I will not be able to finish the rest of the books, but that's okay because I'm just going to roll them over to November. But I will be reading Confetti Realms on Halloween. I am such a seasonal reader that way that I need to have a book that fits the holiday on that holiday. So Confetti Realms will be perfect for Halloween night. It's currently noon, so I'm going to spend the rest of the day reading Queer Little Nightmares, and I will come back when I have an update. Hello, it's Tuesday morning. I am about to get into work for the day, but I wanted to update you because I am 64% into Queer Little Nightmares. I'm enjoying this. Like any anthology, there's some that I like, some that I don't. You've seen the clip of me reacting to one of the stories I was reading, and honestly, I think that might be the creepiest story of this whole collection, and I'm not even finished yet. Honestly, I don't have too much left of this, so once I finish work, my job is to finish this book so I can edit this video today to get it out tomorrow as you're seeing this probably on Halloween.
Firing! 76 beef, 34 chickens, okay? 12 french fries, 12 mash, fucking now!
Hello chefs, and welcome to the end of this vlog. I just finished up Queer Little Nightmares and I really enjoyed it. There were some that I liked, some that I didn't. You know how anthologies go. This wasn't a perfect anthology in my mind, but I really enjoyed the variety of creatures. Also, we got a lot of merfolk or selkies, which I thought was interesting. I wish I had more vampires, honestly. There's one poem about vampires and that's it. There were a lot of BIPOC authors, there were some trans and non-binary authors, indigenous authors, two-spirit, and I thought it was a good variety. I was so excited to read Kai Chen Tom because I love her work. However, I was disappointed by one of the poems. It was called On the Origin of Trans Femmes, and it is dedicated to Meredith Russo. I was not very happy about that, given the fact that Meredith Russo is an abuser. There is an article that I will link if you're not aware of this. I really was uncomfortable when I first heard for Meredith Russo. It did not make me feel great. I don't like that. I was really disappointed because I love Kai Chen Thom's work and I was really looking forward to reading her in this anthology. She actually has 2 poems. The other one I thought was fine, but the fact that this was dedicated to Meredith Russo just really threw me off. However, I do have some that I enjoyed. The one where you saw a clip of me reacting to it, that was probably my favorite one of the whole anthology. I'm not really sure how to describe this, but I will say it is very graphic. There is a lot of blood and talk about menstruation, and basically it is this woman. She ends up conceiving this creature described as a hamster, and it becomes so loud that somebody in her apartment complex comes and complains, saying that they're not allowed to have pets. It meows like a cat, and it was just so immersive, graphic, and I really loved it. I thought it was so great. For me, it was the creepiest story of this anthology, and that's what I was looking for. There are also some funny ones. I really enjoyed the last story by David Zomparelli, who edited this anthology. It is about this influencer who invites her followers to a party or like her house or something, and she ends up going to jail. Oh my god, it's so funny. It gave me Scream vibes or Scary Movie. It was so funny. I'm glad that there were humorous ones to break up the scary and creepy stories. There's another one that I filmed my reaction to, and it was called Naga Mark Ruffalo Dream, and it is about Mark Ruffalo becoming a Naga lady, and it was so funny. I love that about poetry, is it can be serious and it can be so unserious. That was so funny. I was pleasantly surprised by this, and I'm glad that I finally got around to reading it. I am somebody that loves gore, so this was right up my alley, but I really enjoyed the variety of different creatures, and it made me want to seek out more stories like this. I said I don't like to read about occults, but maybe 2025 I'll be a changed man. And that concludes this reading vlog, my last vlog for October, and I will be starting another one in November. I'm just gonna film it throughout the month and see what happens. I'll be reading queer indigenous books for Native American Heritage Month, and I'm very excited to uplift some Native lit as well as some creators that I love. Like I said, that's it for this vlog. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new here, hi, I'm Alex. This is Pucks and Paperbacks, where I love to shout about queer and trans books, so if you're into that, feel free to hit subscribe. I would love to have you a part of the Paperback Pals. If you would like to support this video, the best way to do so is to leave a like and a comment. You can either comment a Halloween emoji, the ghost, or the vampire, or leave me a comment about this video or something that you did during October. I would love to know. Thank you to my patrons for their support of me and this channel, and here is my last vlog if you missed it. Happy Halloween!